My name is Sophia Theory, and I am a graduate student in the ALEC department studying agricultural development. This is my reusable learning object for ALEC 640. By the end of this RLO, learners will be able to identify and categorize smallholder producers, adopters, into adopter categories. The subject of this RLO is artificial intelligence and its prevalence in smallholder agriculture, especially in the United States. It's important for us to be able to understand what is artificial intelligence and where is it located in agriculture. AI is revolutionizing agricultural practices by improving efficiency, sustainability, and decision making. However, the adoption of AI technologies varies significantly among smallholder farmers in the United States. Understanding these factors that drive or hinder adoption is critical for effective extension strategies and policy development. AI has been around for longer than one might expect. While progress towards general intelligence has been slow, AI has made significant strides in specialized applications. In agriculture, AI-driven technologies are increasingly being used to enhance productivity, streamline decision-making, and improve overall efficiency. These applications range from precision farming and automated irrigation to crop monitoring and yield prediction, helping farmers make data-driven decisions and optimize resource use. A bigger question is, how can the larger breadth of AI contribute? AI is not just one application or technology, but rather is a set of learning modules that are programmed to inspire and ultimately make decisions and make solutions. Removing AI from an agricultural context, we hear constantly about ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Gronk, and other innovators in everyday lives of the general population. AI can assist with even the most mundane tasks. Much concern has been sparked by the variety of information these generative AI systems can supply, and just how far they can advance, and how quickly they can advance at that. We're beginning to see these programs become features of websites, built into the latest phones, part of our experiences shopping, and even part of our academic journeys. We are seemingly entering a time where everyday life is connected to AI in some way, shape, or form. This all being said, AI can be, and I believe is, the solution to many issues in the agricultural sector, domestic and abroad. We need to understand where AI is in agriculture. Precision agriculture is the longest example, whether we realize it or not, and see it in everyday agriculture. AI-powered tools such as drones and satellite imagery help farmers optimize crop management by detecting plant health issues, predicting yields, and monitoring soil moisture. Automated irrigation systems are another popular application, as well as weed and pest control. Additionally, on the flip side, livestock monitoring, we see AI common in feed bed weights. So RFID tags in cattle's ears is connected to the feed beds, or the feed troughs, and when the cattle enter the trough, it can calculate how much feed was there before and how much feed was after, and it connects it to that cow's ear tag. That's a very popular application. And lastly, and this is not every application, but this is just an overview, supply chain optimization. Bigger companies such as Cargill, Bunge, ADM have been using AI in their supply chain markets for a very long time. AI is prevalent, most prevalent per se, in their cloud systems that connect to farmers and connect farmers to markets. Next, I want to show you a few graphs to get your mind around the longitudinal implications that we need to consider when talking about change. So, theories of change, in particular, a theory that we are going to use in this application, are not necessarily quick, and they're not necessarily easy to measure. They're often longitudinal in the fact that it takes significant time for us to see the change occur. And with AI in agriculture, we see this slow adoption over the course of 5 years. And with AI becoming more prevalent, that might be quicker, but we can't go in anticipating just how quick or how slow the adoption is going to occur. Conversely, we see this graph with the same timeline in a more globalized setting. So again, we see that there hasn't been necessarily much notable change as this data suggests, but that's not to say that there isn't still room for change. And with agriculture being such an evolving sector and a sector for opportunity, and AI being a sector for opportunity, the two can run in parallel and can. Rogers' diffusion of innovations theory, where it outlines that an adopter is an individual or entity that decides to use an innovation. The adoption process follows 5 stages: knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and confirmation. First, I would like to outline a few barriers to adoption. Adoption is not a easy thing in a lot of cases, and especially with farmers and a very new, very untested per se technology such as AI. So a few barriers include, but are not limited to, aging farmer demographics. The typical American farmer is 58 years old and generally prefers conventional farming practices. This age group tends to rely more on agronomists than digital technologies and is often hesitant to share farm-specific data. Limited internet access and infrastructure is also a barrier. Although 85% of U.S. farms have internet access, only half are equipped with broadband, which is a necessity for AI applications. Past technology challenges. Many farmers recall early digital farming tools as cumbersome and difficult to use, leading to frustration and skepticism towards new technologies. High costs and uncertain ROIs. The biggest obstacle for technology adoption remains cost, with 52% of North American farmers citing it as a major challenge. Additionally, 40% express concerns about unclear returns on investment, further slowing AI adoption. We can measure or begin to orient ourselves with the ability to measure just who is an adopter, what are the influences contributing to their decision to adopt or not to adopt, using Rogers' diffusion of innovations as our method of technological change. So the adoption of AI in smallholder farming represents technological diffusion, where new innovations spread through networks of farmers, through extension services and agribusinesses, and research as a whole. The rate of adoption is influenced by perceived benefits, costs, accessibility, and social norms. Keep in mind, farmers are very social, and they're very congregational and very community-oriented. So word of mouth and the perceived conceptions and misconceptions of this technology bears a heavy weight and heavy currency to many of these producers. Diffusion of innovations provides a framework for understanding how AI technologies, often in the forms of LOTs, are adopted among smallholder farmers. Additionally, studies provide insights into the characteristics of agriculturalist fits into these categories. The theory identifies 5 adopter categories, and we will dive into each one of them. First, innovators. Innovators are early experimenters willing to take risk with AI technologies. Often those adopters who fall into this category in an agricultural context will be at least semi-acquainted with the technology and have established some credibility with the technology, even if the technology is in the beginning phases of its development and beginning phases of its prevalence on the market and in research. They may not, quote, bet the farm on the technology, but rather invite technology such as AI into less impactful systems of their operation. These adopters often have access to and hold increased trust in recent research, such as that from advisory extension services and research institutions as a whole. Next, moving on to early adopters, Influential farmers who recognize the value of AI and help spread awareness are your early adopters. These adopters utilize the technology and will influence others to at least entertain the technology. Farmers, whether they are livestock or row crop producers, American or international, rely on the experiences and testimony of those in the field next to them. Their decisions are largely dependent on the behavior of those in the community. Next, we have the early majority. So these are farmers who adopt AI after receiving its proven benefits. These benefits may not be long-term, they may not be necessarily measured, but these farmers have established rapport and trust in this technology and are more likely to share this technology with their fellow producers. Next, we have the late majority. So the late majority are skeptical farmers who require strong incentives or social proof before adopting. Many older American farmers fall into this category as they may have AI in one part of their cropping system, but still hold distrust in the technology for integrating it into their entire system. This is, in my opinion, a less rigid category. There are parameters that don't allow necessarily for lack of inclusion. So for an adopter to fall into this category, they need to have a over 50% integration of this technology into their systems. So keep that in mind. We have our laggards. So this last category is really those resistant to AI adoption due to traditional financial constraints or distrust in the technology as a whole. They really have wrote it off as being something that they're going to implement into their operation. Understanding where smallholder farmers fall within these categories can help extension agents and programmers and practitioners tailor outreach and support strategies to encourage AI adoption or sustainability overall as a whole. So now it's your turn to try to categorize these adopters. So for this exercise, I want you to think as we go through each farmer where you might categorize them. If you don't have one specific category to put them in, that's okay, but try to identify at least two categories that they may fall into. So for the first farmer, we have a male who's 61 years old, who lives in rural central Illinois, who farms on approximately 500 acres. These acres are primarily in corn and soybean production. He lives 30 miles away from a land-grant institution, which is the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and has an active extension program. He has broadband access and obtains information from newspapers and coffee shop conversation. He's not open to taking risk. Farmer 2, another male, but this producer is 32 years of age and is located 50 miles north of Tampa, Florida, which is a major city. He farms on approximately 20 acres, and these acres are put into specialty produce crops that feed the suburbs of Tampa, Florida. He's 150 miles away from a land-grant institution, which is the University of Florida, which means he has an active extension program and utilizes it frequently. He has broadband access and uses internet to research. He has low financial resources, but is open to technology. Last, we have Farmer 3, which is a female with 40 years of age, located in College Station, Texas. She operates a Brangus cow-calf operation of approximately 50 head. Being that she is located in College Station, she has access to a land-grant institution, therefore having access to extension programming. She has broadband access and utilizes extension and is also employed through the university. This farmer has been utilizing AI ear tags in her cow-calf operation for approximately 10 years. So let's take a moment to think about where we would place these adopters. So, like I said, there you can be on the fence. We don't necessarily have the full picture of these farmers and their operation, but just with this information, we can begin to think about where we might categorize them. Did you categorize farmer 1 into late or even laggard? Farmer 2 into early or maybe even late? And farmer 3 into an innovator or an early adopter? Keep in mind the length of time this farmer has been using AI in their production. So the future of AI adoption in smallholder agriculture is a complex picture to paint. We see AI in smallholder agriculture, particularly through AI-powered tools such as predictive analytics, automated irrigation, and machine learning algorithms for pest management, which are becoming more accessible to the everyday farmer, regardless of the size of their operation. We have to keep in mind adoption influences, factors such as farm size, education level, technological literacy, financial capacity, and trust in AI systems, which all affect adoption rates. Agricultural extension programs play a critical role in educating farmers on AI applications. Adoption and cultural perception can also play into where these adopters are in their journey and if they ever will decide to adopt this technology. Economic viability, data ownership, and ethics also contribute to the larger picture. Policy and infrastructure, such as the need for broadband access, digital agricultural education programs, and supportive policies to enable widespread AI adoption, also go into that picture. So, with this newfound knowledge and orientation with how adopters fall into different categories, the hope is that you will be able to take this information and implement it into programming and outreach to farmers, especially smallholder farmers in the United States. Thank you.